Good day. My name is Siobhan Green, and for this discussion, I serve as the Human Resource Liaison for our school district. Today, I'll be outlining the formal HR response to a serious grievance involving alleged abusive behavior by an employee and a supervisor's failure to act. This response is grounded in established HR procedures, district policy, and legal and ethical obligations to safeguard our staff and students. The first course of action is acknowledging the grievance and protecting all parties. When the formal grievance report is received, the first step is to acknowledge receipt, and this should be done in writing. Additionally, we must ensure confidentiality of all parties involved. All parties, including the complainants and the accused, will be informed that a neutral, fact based investigation will be launched immediately. We will also protective interim measures such as temporarily reassigning staff or adjusting supervision to ensure no further harm occurs during the investigation. The second step is launching a formal investigation. The district's grievance policy requires a prompt, impartial investigation. A third party investigator or an HR trained, non biased administrator will be assigned to conduct interviews with witnesses, review documentation, and evaluate the facts. The investigation will include interviewing the complainants, the accused, and the witnesses, reviewing past complaints and written reports if there are any, analyzing any video footage or student staff observation, consulting our district's code of conduct, workplace safety policies, and anti harassment protocols. The goal is to determine whether the alleged conduct violates district policy, state law, or federal protections under the Civil Rights Act and ADA. Third step is to address the abusive employee. If the investigation confirms abusive behavior, disciplinary actions will be swift and aligned with district policy. Policy Possible consequences include a formal written reprimand, suspension without pay, required counseling or behavioral training, termination mainly due to the physical and verbal nature of the abuse, and the pattern of targeting vulnerable staff. Since this behavior occurred in front of students and female colleagues, we must also assess the potential Title IX of the Educational Amendments implications and the impact on student trauma. It is imperative that familial relationships, such as the employee's father being on the school board, do not interfere with the discipline. As the HR liaison, I recommend that the board recuse the father from any involvement in this case and follow the conflict of interest policy to ensure due process is preserved. Fourth step is addressing the supervisor's failure to act. That is important. The supervisor's failure to respond appropriately constitutes negligence and a breach of duty. All district leaders are mandated reporters of workplace misconduct. The following actions will be taken. The supervisor will undergo a performance review and HR-led training on grievance handling. A formal written warning may be issued, or in cases of deliberate inaction, a demotion or suspension may be recommended. The incident will be documented in the supervisor's personal file. We must hold supervisors accountable to maintain a culture of safety and trust. Now for the final and or fifth step, policy enforcement and reporting to the board. The final investigation report will be submitted to the superintendent and the full Board of Education, minus the board member related to the accused employee, which is the father. HR will also report any findings of policy violations to our district's legal counsel to mitigate legal risk. In the future, we will recommend updated mandatory training on workplace harassment, reporting protocols, and equity for all district employees. In closing, we must act decisively and justly. We cannot allow abuse to or intimidation to persist in our school system. Through consistent enforcement of policy, transparent investigation procedures, and safeguarding all staff and students, we uphold the integrity and safety of our learning environment. Thank you very much for your time and thank you for discussing with me today.